Hello everyone, this is my second recording and the autofocus on the camera was messed up for the first, so here we are. So this is a quick video to show the Mandalorian theme on recorder, or at least part of it. It was requested by a Redditor for his son, which I thought was really nice, and I've had a lot of helpful advice on Reddit recently, so I thought I'll try and pay some back. I've not played this in a while, but let's give it a go. Well, apart from the recording just before. So the first thing I'm going to do is go over the notes in this piece and show you the fingering. So the lowest note is a C, which is really simple. Most of the notes, by the way, will have the thumb on the thumb hole completely covered. So the C is just basically all your fingers, apart from this pinky. Very simple. And I'm expecting that if you need to know the fingering for notes that I mention later, you'll come back to this part of the video and check it, or at least that is the plan. So the next lowest note is a D, so that is just a C without the pinky. There are E flats in this piece because the key, I believe, is E flat major, so this is a bit tricky. You need to remove another finger, but then you need to put it back on and cover just half of that, so not both those little holes, one of them. And I struggle with this note. So a normally would be, so you can hear the difference, and no, we're not playing Jaws. The next note is an F, which is simply this. See the fingering? The note after that is a G, which is just remove the bottom hand altogether. And then it gets a little bit complicated because in this key signature we have A flat and then B flat, and there's also a natural B. So I'll play A flat first, that is this. 1, 2, 1, 2. Then if I play a B flat, which is this, and then a B natural, which is just one finger and one thumb. I believe we then have a C and a D. We've already played the low D and the low C, but we'll play slightly higher. So the upper C is just thumb and finger on the second hole, not the first one, the second. And then to get a D, we simply remove the thumb from there. Now, if I just quickly look at the piece, I believe we have an E flat on the upper scale. So this is just like the E flat we did before, which sounds like, but except we now have to remove half the thumb. Sorry, I have to do this backwards because of the camera. We remove our thumb a little bit and we blow harder. So I'll play the low one, then I'll alternate to the high one. All I'm doing is blowing a little bit harder and moving my thumb just a tiny bit off the hole at the back. So obviously you can hear that. That's an octave, the gap. And we also need to play, I believe, a high F. Yes, and I think there's even a G somewhere. Yes, there we go. If you see me looking down, it's because I've got the sheet music in front of me, just below the camera. So, the high F is like a normal F, again, but we remove the thumb. So I'll play the low one, then the high one. And I'll try and do that a bit closer to you. So there. So that shows you what my thumb's doing. And then finally a G, and I'll do the same. It's a low G and then a high G. Really not that hard. So anyway, that's the fingering. So if you need to know what the fingering is, please go back to this part and check it. In the previous recording of this, I tried to explain it for every note, and I realized I was repeating myself a bunch of times. Not that useful. So the interesting part. Now this pattern repeats itself at least five times, and then it changes a bit. So the first notes are G, and then we go up to a D, and this is the pattern. Okay, then the next bit, it's a G again, but we go up to the high F by the looks of it. And then we go down to the G and the B flat. Then we stay on the G still, but we go up to the C. And then we go down, it changes a bit, to a D and an F. And then it gets a little bit complicated. The pattern changes. So for the last 5, the pattern was the same, it was just the top note changing. Now we have 4 notes in the pattern. So it goes from a D to an A flat to an F to a G. So I'll do it very slowly to start with. And it ends on a G. So at speed, hopefully, I think it is. Then we're back to the previous pattern that we were on before, the 2-note pattern, and this time it is a D and an F. Now we've played that one before, so you should get that quickly. And then we go back to the slightly strange pattern from just before, but we start really low. We go on a C, and I think this is the hardest bit. It is a C, E flat, C, D. So very slowly. Remember, only half the whole. I struggle with this because I don't play this much anymore and I find that quite difficult, the E. Then we get to the exciting bit, or almost. You should recognise this from the theme because it's when I think it's when the drums come in. That's a G and a C. And you do that 4 times. And gradually the other instruments are building up around this. Alright, I'll not keep doing it. There is actually a 5th, but I've cut that out because that's when we start the melody, and obviously there are more instruments in the real full thing, but I've had to cut it out a bit. So I'm going to play the whole next section because it just sounds cool when it's done. Okay, we'll see if I can do it. Already a mistake, it's an F. Then I actually struggle with this, but it's a little bit strange at the end. Yeah, I'll describe what it is next. And that's it. That's all. That's the sheet music I've done based on the Reddit description of what was wanted. I think I went slightly further than what was asked for, but I liked the bit near the end, so I did that as well. Anyway, the quick bit. So it's basically lots of G's. It's like G, 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 C, B. The B is a B flat, remember the key signature. Then we go down to F, G, A flat. So then it's like a sort of descending scale. B flat, A flat, G, F. Cool. Then we're back to G's again, but in this time after it we go up to a C and a D. So very simple. Then there's the da da da. Sorry, that's the wrong pitch. Da da da. Better. So that is B flat, C, D. Okay. Then we go slightly higher to the awkward note, the E flat again. We go E flat, D, C, B flat. So I'll play that bit slowly. So at speed. Fairly simple. And then we've got the dun 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 stepping down. So that starts at a G, which is quite high. So again, I'll play this slowly because the high notes are trickier if you're a beginner. And for me, because I've not played in a long time. So that is G, F, he says, looking at it. It's quite far away from me, this sheet music. So G, F, D, C, B flat, G. So the B flat G is at the end. Then we have the sort of upward ascending scale, which I find a little bit tricky. It's a C, E, G, sorry, E flat. So C, E flat, G sounds like, but it's meant to be dun 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 dun. Oh, I can't play it now. And there I made a mistake. That last note I played was a B flat. This is the only B natural in the whole piece, so we remove that finger and we play just a normal B. So I'll try not to mess that up again. We end on the C, and that is the whole piece. Hopefully I've not gone over the recording limit. This camera has a limit on it. I can't remember what it is, so I'll very quickly show you. I think in the actual track for this, they play the start. They actually use a recorder, but instead of this, I think they use one of these. Now, this I really can't play anymore because my fingers just are not stretched. And generally, if you've got small hands, I honestly wouldn't recommend it. I can barely play this. So I'll try. But I think the start of the real one is played on one of these. It's a tenor recorder. Descant, or soprano, depending on the name, and a tenor have exactly the same fingering. This is an octave lower. So it also sounds quite cool. And so on. I love the sound of low notes on this thing. I wonder if I can play the main bit. I've got to try. I think I've got time. I'm just looking over. I think it says it's above 10 minutes now. It's probably way past that. I can't actually see. What does it say? Oh no, not much. Okay, I think we're okay. I'll be very quick. That's not an A, that's a G. Oh god, I can't do that. My fingers don't stretch, so when you hear the squeaking noise, it's because my finger's not completely covering the hole. That applies equally with the small one. If you hear some weird noises, it might be just that your finger's not completely covering the note. Yeah, fun. So hopefully that has been helpful for you. If you've got any questions, please ask me. Of course, this was in response to a particular Reddit post, so I wasn't sort of making it as a general guide. I only had basically yesterday after work and today, and I recorded it today. I wrote the music yesterday. I think the music's not quite correct. It was deceptively tricky. I normally don't write down sheet music like that. I play a lot of things by ear. But yeah, the rhythms confused me. It was not as straightforward as I was expecting, given how slow and simple it seemed. But anyway, thanks for watching. Hope this has been helpful.